A getting started guide is a very important piece of documentation. It's your user's first impression of your framework or API. Not only is it a technical document, in a way, it is also a marketing tool. If done poorly, it can ruin your reputation. This video explores how to write a great getting started guide by looking at the top 3 best getting started guides on the market. Before we dive into the best getting started guides, we first need a criteria with which to judge the getting started guides. So the first thing we'll look at is the first impression. The getting started guide is the first introduction to what your framework can do. If it is convincing, users will go ahead and explore your framework further. Criteria number 2 is knowing your audience. It is important to know your user's level of knowledge and cater to it accordingly, be they beginners or more advanced users. You should respond to your audience's pain points. Criteria number 3, stating a clear objective. It's important for a getting started guide to be clear with regards to what problem the getting started guide is addressing. Number 4 is being simple but descriptive. Technical jargon should be avoided wherever possible. Any necessary terminology and acronyms should be explained. Do not make assumptions about what your users know. Criteria 5 is the use of vivid illustrations. A great getting started guide makes use of visual indicators such as icons, colors, images, and code snippets. Finally, the last criterion is time to first hello world. It is important for a getting started guide to quickly get users starting with your framework or API. Therefore, the time it takes to write a simple application, in many cases a hello world, is of paramount importance. Okay, now that we have our criteria nailed down, let's take a look at the top 3 best getting started guides. Number 1 on our list is UIlicious. UIlicious is a user interface test automation framework. The UIlicious getting started guide gives the impression that writing tests is as simple as talking with a friend over the phone. This is very convincing because it is true, and it encourages new users and non-developers. UIlicious's getting started guide is also very simple but very descriptive. UIlicious avoids the use of technical jargon, making its getting started guide an easy read. It has a grade 2 readability score according to the Hemingway app. This makes it the easiest to read by far on our list. UIlicious's getting started guide also makes use of great illustrations. What makes this the best getting started guide is the integrated code editor, test window, and getting started guide all in one piece. Everything you need is in one place, allowing you to get started instantly. The UIlicious getting started guide uses code snippets that users can directly try out and run in their code editing window. Users can make changes to the code snippets to test out different scenarios and experiment. In the introduction, users can try out their first UIlicious test, which is a simple login test into GitHub. The time to first hello world is pretty much instant in this regard, because right from the bat, you have a working example that users can interact with. This is in addition to very clear explanations that explain the fairly simple functions in that first test. So by far, we think that given all the above, UILicious is a cut above the rest. Next on our list is Auth0. With regards to first impressions, Auth0 does a good job in this regard. It uses an arrow diagram to map out all the sections in the guide, giving users a clear layout of what they should expect the guide to cover. It's pretty evident that Auth0 has done their homework with regards to knowing their audience. Their Getting Started guide addresses both its beginner users and experienced users in the introduction. Beginners are encouraged to start by learning the very basics, while advanced users are encouraged to jump in and start building. Auth0 also does a good job of clearly stating its objectives. It states at the beginning of the Getting Started guide that it helps users manage access to their application, authentication. The guide is simple but descriptive. It scores a grade 8 level readability according to the Hemingway app. Auth0 also explains all acronyms when they are mentioned for the first time and uses plain language that is easy to understand. Auth0 uses pictorial diagrams to explain the authentication workflow, making it easier for users to grasp the concepts. Auth0's Getting Started guide offers step-by-step tutorials on the first page of the guide, allowing users to build their first Hello World application in under an hour. Last but not least, we have the next.js framework. Next.js makes a good first impression by not wasting users' time and jumping right into setting up the environment. They've also done a good job of knowing their audience. The Next.js Getting Started guide provides a learning course to beginner users to help them become familiar with the basics. The Getting Started guide is simple but descriptive, making use of plain language that is relatively easy to understand, and the Getting Started guide scores a grade 5 readability level according to Hemingway. With regards to illustrations, Next.js makes use of code snippets when illustrating all their examples. This helps users reuse code and cut down on coding time. The Next.js Getting Started guide starts by showing you how to create a Next.js app, both automatically and manually. Users set up their working environment in no time at all. Under an hour, you'll have a complete development environment. That's it for our list of the top 3 best Getting Started guides on the market. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like a PDF version of this video, you can access it using the link in the description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.